What is going on, guys? Hope you all are good and well. Hope you're having a good day, a great day. So, we are starting again. So, having a recap of yesterday. What I was working on yesterday was swapping the strings, kind of. It was an advanced pointers topic, so we were working with swapping strings. So, one of the functions of swapping strings was this, where we were just swapping plain integers, which was not particularly an issue because you just, sorry, here, you just, no, not this one. I think this was the one, yes, where we just store the value, the integer value, and then we swap it something like this and just assign it to be the value that we have when we dereference A. So dereferencing A, we have the value, for example, the integer 41, and now we store that value to 41 into the variable value, and you get the idea. Moving forward, we had this function where I was looking into this function where we had to swap strings. So in order to swap strings, we are getting a double pointer which is already referencing to some string. So in C, if you have to create some strings, then you need to use this syntax, which basically what it does, it creates a pointer which points to the first element of the string, and it generally creates an array, and C understands that okay, this particular syntax, we're going to create an array to store all of the elements, but this particular pointer is going to point to the first element of that array. So dereferencing this pointer will give us kind of the first element of the array. Like if I'll show you, uh, 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 so if we're going to dereference it, it's going to give us a character. It's going to be the first element of the array, ASTR value H and W over here, something like this. And if we want to print the entire value, then printf we can use just this, because although this is kind of a pointer, but what printf does, it checks that okay, this pointer is particularly pointing to some sort of array, and it is holding a string, it is holding a string of array, array of characters. So it just converts it and prints it as a string. It searches through that array until the keyword slash, I think slash 0, was it? Yes, I think slash 0, something like this. Yes. And because in C there is no other way, the string is stored in the form of like this, H E L L O, and the last termination of a string is stored this way. So what printf does, it just finds us all of the elements before this termination operator. This is called termination operator. Okay, moving forward. So what I'm confused about is that now what I have to do is that I'm giving basically a double pointer, a pointer which is already pointing to, which is going to point to, which is already pointing to the first element of the character array. Okay, and I am sending that pointer in this parameter, which then I'm sending the address of that pointer in this parameter, which if you can see, we have this function over here, swap strings, and it takes in basically this double pointer of character A and B. So we are passing it the address of that pointer, which is already pointing to some first element of the array of that. So the problem that I'm currently facing is what I do is keep this part over here. I think we don't need it to. So what I'm doing over here is I create a new character pointer which is going to store which is going to dereference the pointer that I'm getting at, and dereferencing it would give me the value or the address where it is pointing to, the A pointer. So if I store it in the pointer, I just create a pointer. Why am I doing this again? Sorry. Yeah. So I do this, and then what I do is I just store the address in that particular pointer. I create a new pointer that okay, now you should point to this particular address that is having that the dereference is having. So then what I do is I tell the dereference A address. I just ask the A, okay, so now I have stored the old address that you already have. Now I want you to update your address that you're pointing to point to the B address, which is fine, which is going to just do what, which is going to just change the address that A was pointing to. Basically A was pointing to the first element of the array of H. Now what I do is that if I tell A to point to the first element of B, which is the world string array, so I just tell it to point it to that particular address, which is working fine. Okay, now the problem that I'm currently facing is that I ask B, then I ask B, okay, now B, you should point to because B itself is I think B itself is kind of a double pointer, so we need to give, if we're assigning it directly like this, then it needs to have it, B needs to hold a pointer that is already pointing to something, because the type of B over here is if you can see, is double pointer. So double pointer means that it is a pointer which is already pointing to something. So if we're assigning or changing the value of B directly, then we need to give it a double pointer, a pointer which is already pointing to something. So we have the address, we give it the address of pointer. So the pointer address is already pointing to the address which was the old address of pointer A. The problem is that if I check this over here, I'm printing the values after the conversion is done below over here. So what happens is that the swap strings function works, and then I print the value, the pointer value for the A string and the pointer value for the B string. Okay, so the pointer value for the A string and B string is the same. For some reason both of these pointers are pointing to the same address. They're both holding the same address, and so definitely the ASTR and BSTR value is also coming up the same. I'm trying to understand that if I already have a correct working solution where I just ask, where I just give it this, and I just ask the B pointer to point to the pointer directly, which is correct, which is just going to replace the B, the D reference, the first D reference of B to point to the address of this. Okay, which is generally speaking, if it's something like this, which is fine also. Okay, but the A is now holding the pointer of B, so it's going to actually have the same, hold the same value if I do something like this. That is why I stored it in the variable, so that I can use it later. Okay, now the problem I'm trying to figure out is that why exactly, I've already solved this, but why exactly this particular part is causing an issue? Why is it's not updating the value? Because if I'm printing out B is pointing to now, if I'm just going to run this again, I'm going to run this again. B is ASTR pointer. So ASTR pointer, we go through the code. We have before address before updating, the address that this particular pointer is holding. Okay. The address that B static B is holding, we have static B. Okay, these both of these are different, which is fine. Okay, now I'm checking the own address, the address that both of these have. So their own addresses are going to, I think, I'm printing their own address somewhere over here. Yes, which is okay. Address of pointer, the address of pointer, value of pointer, address of pointer, value of pointer. The value of pointer is generally this because we're setting it to this. Now if you see the value of pointer, it is going to be pointing to the static A, which was static A. So value of pointer is 0x55A157B1B2E, which is correct. Okay, which is fine. Okay, so pointer is holding the value H, which is correct. Now what's happening over here is that now I set A to point to the static B. After it is set to B, which is fine. Okay, BSTR pointer, BSTR was pointing to 244. It now points to 244. Pointer value after a static B, it's not changing either. The pointer value is not changing either. It is holding the correct old 1123 E1, and the address of pointer, it's pointing, it's correct. So B is B static B. B is pointing to now. B is pointing to now this. So this address, it's holding this address. B where it is pointing. B where it is pointing. B where it is pointing. It's pointing to 23E, which is correct. Which is correct over here, right? B is printing edge. B is printing edge. But for some reason, when the function ends, it just flushes out everything. It just goes back to world. to which I understood that this has to do something with the stack pointer variable. Oh, so then I created a stack pointer variable which would do some which would actually create a pointer on heap for me, and this way the stack pointer is because the only possible solution to this is that b is pointing to h, it should print h or hello at least, right? If I go this, right? Assigning a pointer or creating a pointer on the heap and using it to have this value is fine. I think this should probably work, but for some reason it's going back to the old pointer, the old address that it was pointing to. Say after it is function call ends and it stops. Whereas if I look into this particular solution, this works without any issues. World hello. So what it does, it just directly creates a pointer and sorry, it works this way. Yes, so it assigns the pointer and it tells the pointer to hold this address as its value, point to this particular pointer which is holding the value of a. So the address of address that a was pointing to over here. So now we change the address that a was pointing to point it to the address where b was pointing. So and then we tell b to point to that address where a was pointing. So both of these we already have in the stack, and there is not a problem. Both of these addresses exist, but above so this functionality, this solution works for us. But over here, because the pointer was created inside the function and it was allotted inside the function itself, there would have been a chance that it would just go away after the function call is there. It would just, the stack memory is emptied and returned, so that is why it would have been having the issue. But even after creating the pointer on the heap memory and assigning it its address, it's still not giving us the right, you know, it's still falling to its old address, which B is still falling to its old address, which it was uh, falling to its old address, which it was pointing to. Hmm. Hmm. What could be the issue? Why not using malloc properly? Let me add this line. what has happened over here? A I'm setting to B, which means B is pointing to A. I can set A to B, saying that A's address is going to hmm. B holds an address. B is a pointer pointing to some other pointer. Okay, B is currently pointing to B will be pointing to the keyword. Uh, I think it has to do something.
Do you like the song? What the was that?
Now B pointer. mm, pointer character. Hold A.
What do you want to hear repeatedly on the radio this year?
Something that sounds like the music I already listened to, but with different words.
Dunno really. Oh, if it's on, I'll listen to it. Loud guitars, tattoos. Anything else is a bonus. Well, it's pretty good, but I'd need to ask my friends what they think first.
Let's ask Chat GPT to maybe debug this problem for us. What could be the issue? Because sure, exactly. I agreed. It was something related to uh, the local initialization of the function. I I actually I'm getting a little bit, I'm getting used to the syntax of C. So the problem was this, that I was not able to grasp that B is generally a local variable that is being used in the function itself. It's not a variable that is global to the function or of different scope. Here for you. Generic swap. So we are having this. For the previous swap implementation, we've known the type of the data we want to swap because we knew the type, the compiler knew the sizes of the data we want to swap. However, to make a generic swap, we will need to provide the C compiler with the size of the data that we're swapping, because void So so we're creating a function for swap where we'll also be having the size in the function, and then we need to allocate memory on the heap for that, so that we can use it later on and free the pointer. Here the problem we're going to have is directly assigning does not work the same way. Instead of using pointer, we will use here within the string.h library. Remove the data from pointer 2 to pointer 1. We will use the following. To be swap, we've known the type of the data we want to swap because Python knew the sizes of the data we want to swap. C compiler with the size of the data that we are swapping. We write C compiler with the size. थोड़ी देर में मंगवाऊँ यार अभी the type the compiler new to size. So VP1 we can change to pointer 2. VP1 should point to pointer 2. 2 can point to something like this.
in my veins and my heart on my sleeve. Teach me a lesson, a lesson. Her sex is a weapon. Black holes, chemicals burning my brain. The way that she loves me is fucking insane. Hands on my body, body. I'm feeling godly. I'm a friend of the devil. I'm a dangerous rebel. It's the life that I can't escape. Can walk away. There's blood in the ocean, and I'm losing focus. I'm a friend of the devil. I'm a friend of the devil. Young blood, old love tears at the seams. Fighting my way through the sins of the street. I'm feeling psycho, psycho. Where did my mind go? Biting my tongue and I'm loading my gun. Back to the wind, better run, better run. I'm feeling crazy, crazy. Go ahead and make me. I'm a friend of the devil. I'm a dangerous rebel. It's the life that I can't escape. Can walk away. There's blood in the ocean, and I'm losing focus. I'm a friend of the devil. I'm a friend of the devil.
So swapping values directly would not work because of the type void. Now
You ain't never gonna get on this line no more. 'Cause I listened to your lies 1,000 times before. I told you last time that I'm sick of it. I don't miss you, not a little bit. Yeah, the sound of your voice can be dangerous. And the way that you love me was wrong for us. Gonna go out for the hell of it. 'Cause I find you so relevant. This is what you get, this is what you get. For fucking with my head, fucking with my head. You get the red body when you go. 'Cause I ain't feeling you at all. You get the hang up, you get the hell no. You get to leave the drama message in my cell phone. You get the red body when you go. 'Cause I ain't feeling you at all. You talking this shit, and I don't need that. And if you're lucky, then you'll maybe get a call back. All my friends thought that you've been calling them, driving all around the block asking where I've been. I've been dancing with somebody new, just dancing to forget you. It's so easy now to see you never even tried. Now there's nothing you could say that would change your mind. So tired of the cynical. Time to find me something beautiful. This is what you get, this is what you get. For fucking with my head, fucking with my head. You get the red body when you go. 'Cause I ain't feeling you at all. You get the hang up, you get the hell no. You get to leave the drama message in my cell phone. You get the red body when you go. 'Cause I ain't feeling you at all. You talking this shit, and I don't need that. And if you're lucky, then you'll maybe get a call back. You'll be lucky, boy, if you
so we pointed to whose value is copying
back in the slow-mo. And I'll
without an issue
listen if I say so. This is what you get, this is what you
using memcpy memory copy. Is it or is it not? Pointer 2. Oh, VP2 is.
Who am I without your love? Will I be enough? Look what you did to my worth.